What if now is the time to end the stigma around discussing what so many of us struggle with? Stress, anxiety, depression, addiction, PTSD, and more. Too often we hear people say they felt alone before discovering the tools of change at Access Consciousness. That is why we created this series of lives to reinforce the message that you are not alone, and in fact, you are a gift to this world.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Marilyn Bradford, and I am an Access Consciousness Facilitator and founder of Right Recovery for You. And I have with me today amazing men and women who are Right Recovery for You facilitators. And we're here to talk about the You Are Not Alone campaign of Access Consciousness. It's Suicide Awareness Month starting today, September 1st. And Access has so many great tools that help people have a sense that they're not alone. So we're going to have some stories of change, what we've experienced and what the change was and what sometimes our family members or clients have experienced. And one of the most amazing tools of Access Consciousness is the Access Consciousness bars. So we're going to start with a bars story. Ingrid, you're on.
Thank you, Marilyn. Yes, so bar stories, there's loads of them, obviously. And one of the things that I would like to share is that we joined one of the fairs in the country where I live. It's the Netherlands. And this was a fair where I think over 4 days, there were like 40 or 50,000 people visiting this place. So it was big. And so what we had was a stand, and we were giving bar sessions there. And so we had these 3 tables, and the stand was sort of on a corner. So we had people coming from sort of behind us, walking past, and then making the corner, and so they could really see us. And the interesting thing was that whilst sitting there and giving these bar sessions, the people that were walking around there visiting, you could see their faces go like, as in, what's happening there? And you had these people on the table that in the middle of all these visitors were at total ease and total relaxation. And that was probably the most inviting thing that we could be at the time. So that's what we were doing. And one of the things that happened there was we had this sweet young lady who came to have her bar session, and she pre-booked it because we posted it, and you could pre-book these things so that you had a time slot and you knew when you had to be there. Very efficient, as we are in Europe. And so she came, and I was giving her the session, and she said to me like, "Oh, I have such great expectations from this because I'm very close to a burnout, and so yeah, I have high hopes for what the bars can do for me." And so I was sort of a little bit nervous, as in, oh, shit, her hopes are so high. What's going to happen?
No
Can
pressure.
I deliver? And so she lay down on my table, and these were short bar sessions. We had like 20, 25 minutes, and that was it. Then the next person was on. So we had like a 5 or 10 minute time schedule for them to get off the table and the next one to be on. And so I started giving her the bar session. And I noticed that while she's lying there, she's not crying as in what you have this, but there's tears coming out of her eyes. And so I see this and I think, oh, something's happening. So I just go on, I proceed with the session. And after the 20 minutes or the 25 minutes are over, I put my hands on her shoulder as an indication, okay, the session's over, we're done, you can open your eyes now. And this lady has, she initially didn't even open her eyes. Then she opened them, but she could not speak. She was just being there, tears coming out of her eyes, and just sitting there. No breathing like she was crying or anything. It was just these tears, just that. And the relaxation, basically, that she'd gotten from this session was something that her body had been craving for so badly, that this was the moment, and her body was like, I'm having this. I am not going to let go of this. And it was amazing. She was extremely grateful. It took her, I think, a quarter of an hour or something before she could even speak again. She was indicating everything is fine. I need to come back. I need to land again. And so in these 25 minutes, we had just such a huge relaxation that she managed to get out of the bars. And I thought I'd share this story with you guys. So
that's a lovely story. Thank you, Ingrid. And in case people are not aware, the bars are a very simple process. There's 32 points on the head. You lie on a massage table or sit in a chair, and just by touching them, it releases any of the thoughts, feelings, emotions, energies that you've picked up from anywhere. So, I mean, there's sadness and joy and bodies and aging toaster and all kinds of things. And right now, Access is offering lots of free bar sessions. It's part of the You Are Not Alone campaign. Yay! So you can go to the Access site, and I believe the people on the back end here will be posting that. But bars are something, I get them done regularly, hopefully at least once a week. And right, it's relaxation. A lot of anxiety goes away, and this has been particularly helpful for me in COVID because we tend to pick up what's going on around us. I mean, we're all psychic, not like reading tea leaves or anything. But someone walks in the room and they're angry and you're like, well, no, I'm angry. But with COVID particularly, what I found was that people were so anxious and depressed, and some even suffering from PTSD, that it was easy to pick up those energies. We're like psychic sponges. So getting my bars run was just amazing, really. And there are lots of other wonderful tools too. So anyone else on bars or some other tools they've used? Yes, Elena.
Okay, I'm official translator for Access. I thrive on bars because this is my tool for translation. If I go to any class and I just translate into languages, because we have like 17 languages classes, a lot of booths set up for translators. It's just given that you go after you translate it, like for an hour or 40 minutes, you go and jump on the table and get your bars run. And it's not because you just, it feels like it. It's something you require at this moment in order to proceed, because the intensity of translation, simultaneous translation, is pretty high. So your brain goes like in flames, basically. So bars is something that really works for me, because when my brain is in flames, it's just like, oh, I know exactly where to go. I know exactly what I require at this point. So bars is just really a tool for me that helps me not just to relax or feel better. It just helps me to work, just to be more present with what I do, to deliver things that I have to deliver. So it's really something that, not just for relaxation, but for making you more efficient at some point.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you. Who else has a tool or something that they've found has just created tremendous change for themselves or other people?
I can continue. I'm not going to jump in. I'm just going to say that I know that Danilo has a fantastic story about bars and children. I wonder if he wants to talk about that, because I just adore him for that.
We all do.
Danilo, I guess you're on the spot.
Oh, your mic is not working, Danilo. We cannot hear you.
Danilo? Okay, someone in the back end, can they help Danilo? Yeah, we can't hear you. Okay, let's come back, but if someone can help Danilo. Corinna, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I would say it's just the whole of, I cannot even say there is one specific tool that I like best of all. There are so many tools, and it is just a modality that allows you to really change your life, to pivot it. To when I even just look at myself, I used to be pretty shy and withdrawn, and I used to make not a lot of money and only do one thing at a time, and be not so happy in my life. And then doing Access, all of that changed to a point where now I'm doing multiple things, enjoying all of them, bringing back the creativity into my life, not being shy anymore, obviously. And really, it has an effect on everybody in my family, everybody around me, and also, of course, for the people I'm working with. So it really allows you to go to that happy space of you, right? Because I think we all wouldn't be looking for something else if we didn't know if something else was possible. We wouldn't know we're unhappy if we didn't know, but there's something else is possible, right? So, and this is really what I so much adore about the tools of Access Consciousness, and specifically of Right Recovery for You. It helps you to really access the space of you. It sounds very abstract maybe, but this is where you thrive, where you are happy, where you are yourself. And I couldn't even pinpoint just one tool at this point, but maybe just give you this impression.
Thank you, Corinna. Danilo, can we hear Danilo now?
How it is now? Can you?
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm back. So thanks to the amazing Becky. I'm back. Thanks to Becky.
Yes.
And I have a lot of stories related to the bars, and also to the change that is possible with the tools of Access Consciousness. And the project that Ingrid was referring to is the Bars at School project that I did in Italy with Chiara Dolza, another certified facilitator of Access Consciousness. And for 2 months, we went to an Italian first grade school, and we ran bars to the students, and we ran bars to something like 72 students from 3 different classes for 2 months each Tuesday.
Wow.
And this was a totally fun space, and totally no form, no structure space of creation. And the kids were so happy, the teachers were so happy, and also the families were so happy. So in the end, we had a really great opportunity to invite Gary Douglas and Dr. Dain here, the founder and the co-founder of Access Consciousness, to that school in Italy. And we did a documentary, a short movie about this project that is available on the Access Consciousness YouTube page and all around the social media. And the thing that I remember is that once I had this conversation with the teacher that after the session, we went back to the class with the kids, and we were running bars to maybe 5 up to 10 kids for each session, because it was related to the number of practitioners that were available that day. And after the session, we went back to the class, and the teacher said, "Oh, Luca," and it was one of the students, "Oh, Luca, look at you. You are more happy now than before, but also you are not comfortable now. I cannot control you now." And the teacher looked at me and said, is that supposed to be the goal of the bars? And, it was an interesting conversation, because the bars have not a goal. So a access session doesn't have a goal. It's not to do something specific. Is not to create something specific. It's just to open to more possibilities and create a different place to be. And I remember that I was so happy for that kid, and I was not at all upset for the teacher.
I remember Gary saying that he could see such a difference between the children who participated in the project. They were relaxed and happy, and the kids who would not, who were more uptight and, anxious. And I just love what you all did. I think that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. And if I can
talk about tools.
Yes. Danilo?
Yeah. There is something that personally changed a lot my life, and actually is a book. So it's a lot of tools inside a book, and the title of the book is The Gentleman Club, and it is a book that I read for the first time maybe 10 years ago, maybe more. And I remember that I was in a box about what a man should do or should be, and what I should create and why. And that book made me free. And I remember in 3 months after the reading of the book, I moved to another almost country, and I changed totally my life. And I was, there are more possibilities in front of me.
Wonderful.
So there are a lot of books also published by Gary Douglas, Dr. Dain, and a lot of amazing facilitators in Access Consciousness, and they are translated in a lot of languages. And one thing that I started to do a while ago was also gifting books, because this is a different
nice
invitation to the tools and to the possibilities that we have thanks to Access Consciousness.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Okay, who's next? Yes.
I'd like to say about kids.
Yes.
One day I provided the swap in one Russian city, and there was one young mother with her son, and he was less than 1 year old, and he was just so moved. So don't silent and so on. And I thought, what can I do with him? And I said him, let's run bars. And his body said, only 5 minutes. You have or less. And it was so funny, so grateful. I ran bars, and it was 4 or 5 minutes, and it was all. And he was such relaxed. It was great. Thank you so much.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah, and there are lots and lots of other tools. I had the experience. I am actually a clinical therapist for 30 years, but I was working with a woman, and she's like, I'm really screwed up, and I'm like, tell me more. My favorite access tool is the question.
Yeah.
And she said, well, a couple of years ago, I had a nervous breakdown. And I was like, how do you know? And she said, well, I was in bed for 3 weeks. I'm like, okay, so what happened? And she started to tell me about all these changes that she'd made at the time. I mean, I can't remember exactly, but things like leaving a relationship, and she got a new job. I mean, it's like everything in her life changed.
Wow.
So I said, well, how did you decide you had a nervous breakdown? Well, that's what the doctor said. Okay. Well, what do you know? What were you actually doing during that time? She thought about it a while and she said, well, I was just thinking about my life and going forward and what I was going to, all this change and what did I really want to do and who did I want to be? And, just it seemed like I really had to figure a lot out or just be with it. And I'm like, so did you really have a nervous breakdown or were you kind of cocooning and waiting to be the butterfly you were going to become? And she started laughing and she said, oh my gosh, I just bought what I was told. And actually, she said, you're right. I just needed that time away to really be with things, be with myself, make some choices. She said, wow. And I've carried this idea that I was, deficient and mentally unstable. And I'm like, are you really mentally unstable? She's like, no, actually, I created a wonderful life. So, the thing about the question and one of the reasons I love it so much is to me, it fits in with this, you are not alone. Because when you have some expert telling you about yourself, you're going to feel alone. Nobody's there with you. With the access tools, they're all very empowering. And that's why I absolutely love the question because it's
easy.
Yeah, it's so easy. It's just about, asking. People would walk in and go, I'm depressed. And I'm like, how do you know? It's not like, yes, I can see you have these 6 things wrong with you. So anyway, I love the way the question empowers people. Access does not ever have answers or give advice. It's all about empowering people to know that they know. And when you're empowered, it sounds kind of odd because we think of you're not alone as, oh, there are other people around. But you're not alone is also about you have you.
Yes.
And and that's for me what Access is about, what Right Recovery is about. When you have you, you're not alone.
You can handle,
That's for me what the question does. It really empowers people to know that they can have them and they can know what they know. So that's my favorite tool, I think, although I like so many of them. Who else has another tool that they really liked? A story of change?
Marilyn?
Yes.
Yeah, just related to the question, we have a question on Facebook, from Facebook. And Sharon is asking, can we have our bars run remotely or distance run similar to Reiki? And I would like to answer to that one because it's the question that often we have related to the bars. And the bars are a body process. So the thing is that to have a body process, we need to include
the body.
We cannot do remotely. So that's part of the fun and also part of the change that is possible now because all around the world we have maybe law or regulation that is not possible to do things that maybe 2 years ago it was our life, and now things are changing so fast, and including the body is now something that is different than in the past. Mm-hmm. So also including the body is a change now, is a big change for all of us.
Yes.
And I will invite Sharon to check maybe in your area or in your city through the accessconsciousness.com website, the facilitators that are offering bar session. So you can be in touch and maybe receive a live session soon.
Thank you, Danilo. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can I relate to something that you said earlier, to Marilyn?
Yes.
Because you mentioned like this like nowadays we live in a world that is very labeled.
Yes.
Like, it goes like you have to have like you wear labels, you know, as clothes pretty much. So basically everybody says like you're stressed, you're depressed, you're addicted, you, I don't know, mother, single mother, you that. We label everything pretty much, or everything has to be at some some designated place. So when I was thinking about stories of change, I thought like how we always label ourselves, and we have to carry on with the label what it means. Like we have to see it through. Like if you're stressed, your body have to be tired. You have to act some way. You have to be a little bit slower. You have to be tired. You have to be this and that. And as soon as we agree to that label, say like, okay, I'm stressed or I'm addicted, you have to see it through. This is like a small game we play. So for me, it's just so funny because, you know, the question I usually ask is that if I didn't label myself like that, what would be like real for me? Like, what is my reality then, you know, with all of this situation that is happening? So am I stressed or am I cocooning, like trying to find my own space where I can just, you know, come down and see what's going on and get my strengths back, whatever is required, you know, and actually having fun, because we don't even see that we're having fun and because we're supposed to be depressed. Or
I can't be having fun. I'm depressed.
I'm depressed. I'm really into this little game that I'm playing, being depressed. And I'm not saying that it's just not true. We really believe in that. But for me, it's like, if I didn't define myself as that or as anything, what would be true for me at this point in this situation with, you know, and these tools of right recovery for you and access consciousness is like treasure, because it's so simple, it's so fast, and it's right there with you. You don't have to memorize anything. You just like, is that true for me?
Yes. Ask that question.
Yeah. So we ask a question. So whatever comes to your mind, and if you're lost and you don't know what question to ask, you ask, what question can I ask here? I mean, it's just like another question. So basically, it's like you always, and it's like what Access and Right Recovery gave me is basically that I know that I can handle anything.
Yes.
That I'm strong enough because I know I'm strong, and I know that basically I have tools and I can get support from whenever. It can be bars, it can be tools, it can be anything that I can think of or just remember suddenly. You know, that is something to go to. Like, you remembered bars, go. You remember this tool, go. Just do it. And I mean, and it's not, you're not alone. It's just so many people going through the same things.
Yes.
Like, you can always find somebody or some service or, you know, somebody to call, somebody to ask you a question or something like that. So it's just like, if you don't believe that you like jailed, you know, in your situation by yourself, this is so much true. Yes, there's so much more if you just ask a question. Is there anyone available to help me here with this situation, or just to be with me? And, you know, somehow this universe works miracles with that. It will find you someone who will respond to that. So what if you're not really alone ever and you can handle anything? What would that create you as your life, basically? So that's my favorite. So thank you for that story that you said in your favorite too, because it's just like something that's been bubbling for me.
I just love that. And, you know, in Right Recovery, we ask people, never say anything like, I'm Marilyn, I'm an alcoholic, I'm Sally, I'm an overeater, I'm Fred, I'm addicted. Because just what you said, you lock yourself into that and you don't have a chance to be aware of anything else. So I just think, and thank you for also, yes, all of you with the right tools can handle anything. Absolutely.
I can add something to that.
Yes.
This thing of saying, I am so-and-so and I'm an alcoholic or I'm a drug addict or I'm depressed or I'm burned out or whatever. When you're doing that, you're actually looking at the past.
Yes.
You're not looking at the future, and changing your point of view to looking into the future, to looking at, okay, so what is possible now? That is something that is, it blows people's minds when you turn them around. And I had this sweet story of a guy that I work with, and he had he was employed, long-term employee of a company, was making good money, had a family to feed and work with, and he at one stage decided, okay, he was going to give up being employed. He was going to take the jump, and he was going to become self-employed, or he was going to buy into this company and work with the same project, but for himself now. So he does this, and I work together with him. We have fun and we have nice projects. And after about a year, I get a phone call from him, and he says, Ingrid, I'm ringing you because I want to tell you this myself. The partner that I'm working with, the other director of this company, and we have decided we're going to split up, and we're going to go our separate ways. And I was like, at your age, that's fantastic. Everything's gone. All your limitations are gone. What is he going to do? And I sort of reacted to him like, so what are you going to do now? Everything's possible. And you could hear in his voice, like, what's this? He immediately turned around and started to talk about the future. And the whole conversation, the whole tone of the conversation went away from being a victim to, okay, so what am I going to do now?
Yes.
And that is looking into the future. That's the question. What else is possible now, from where I am now, with all the information I have, with everything I've learned, with everything I've lived through? What is possible now?
I love it. Yeah.
And that's another question.
Yes. What is possible? And not creating your future from the past. That's something I learned from Access. Wowie zowie. You can be completely different, stepping into the gift that you are. You know, I just want to mention one of my other favorite tools, which is, who does this belong to? And I used to work, well, I still do with, but not so much, a lot of alcoholics. And a woman came in to see me, and I said, so what's up? And she's like, well, I'm an alcoholic. So I did my, how do you know? And we went through this, and I saw her for about 6 weeks off and on, and she wasn't changing. Nothing was changing. And I'm like, something's going on here. Because if someone comes in and they really desire to change, and you all know this, and you give them tools, they'll change. Mm-hmm. So finally I said, whose alcoholism is it anyway? And she said, oh, it's my mother's. And after that, she never had another problem with alcohol, ever. She said, wow. And I said, that's the tool of who does this belong to? You just tell me. She said, well, I guess I just picked it up from her, but really? And she came in a couple more sessions. She says, I don't even care about drinking. I just picked this up. And that, who does this belong to? COVID, who does the depression belong to? It's a really, really useful tool that I use it all the time. Anytime I notice that my mood changes, kind of like I'm happy and I'm doing my thing, and all of a sudden I'm like, who does that belong to? And if it lightens up, it's not yours. And that's another one. Anybody have any other favorite tools or stories of change?
It's just so funny because this tool, who does it belong to, it can be so practical.
Yes.
Like when you wake up in the morning and you suddenly, everybody hates Mondays mornings. You wake up and you just absolutely you have no strength to get up. You just oh my God. And then you go is it mine? Who does it belong to? And It's not mine. So it's just right away in I don't know, a minute, you're already running, you're already on the roll, you just you're doing stuff and you're excited about the new day. So it's just it's very practical. Use it as much as you can, just anywhere basically, because it can be things like waking up in the morning that can be so much easier for you basically.
Yes.
It's amazing.
So I basically have a little variation of this tool, which I liked. I'm a visual person, so I like to work with visuals. So another version of this question would be, whose universe are you in right now, right?
Oh, that's a good one.
And how many people's universes are you in right now? And for me, it's really in my picture, in my head, I see a picture then of a little kraken who has his tentacles, his energetic tentacles everywhere in everybody else's worlds. And then if you just ask to retract all your tentacles.
Oh, I like it.
And really, even physically, I like to do it physically. Like, okay, so I'm pulling back all those energetic tentacles and I keep them with myself. So this would be, just another variation of this. And I think it's a good, for me, I have it here. For me, it's a good reminder.
Yes.
And it's visual.
Yeah, exactly. It's visual, yeah.
I think that's great. Thank you, Corinna.
Can I also mention? I'm sorry. It's just like I'm excited, super excited.
I love it. Yes,
That's help me. I'm on a roll. It's like my favorite. One of the favorite things that you can just change pretty much anything is the tool. Like, if it wasn't a problem, what would be? What can be? What would be possible then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we, again, identify something as a problem and we have to address it, approach it as a problem.
Yes.
So this is where we start functioning from. We're just like, okay, I have a problem. Let's solve it. But then if it's not a problem, what is then possible? What else? What are the options are there available? If it wasn't a problem and you're like, okay, I can do that. And it becomes a project. And then you can just play with the project. You can do stuff with the project. It's not a problem. So for me, this tool is just also changed so much for me personally. Like because I'm a very good problem solver. Like, I'm the best.
So you have to create problems to solve them.
Yeah, because this is how I thrive. I'm like, let's get another bigger problem because I'm really good at it. And then you get into stress and everything else that comes with it. But basically, if it's not a problem, then you kind of cut the circle of being stressed and depressed and whatever that comes after if you don't solve it. It's just like, okay, so what is it then if it's not a problem? What are the options available? What are the possibilities are here? So, and you just go.
Well, and that goes with one of the things with Access, which is no form, structure, significance. I use that. Oh my gosh, I would make things so significant. I'd make your problem significant. I'd make my problem significant. Once I began not making, and that doesn't mean you ignore something. It's actually about giving yourself the space. Okay, if I just say it slightly differently. If I wasn't making this significant, what would I be aware of? And you go from to, at least that's what I find. And these days I don't make a whole lot significant, but I still do it occasionally. And that's the thing. It's not about being perfect. It's about knowing that whatever is going on, there's a tool you can use to change it, to give yourself more clarity. Whether it's a tool you're using personally or with a friend, or you're getting your bars run, just let all that stuff go. There's just a whole lot of ways to be with anything to create more possibilities.
Or make your imperfect work for you.
Yes.
Bring your money. I don't know.
And also, even if you make something significant, just because you can,
Yes.
you can still look at it and go like, I'm making this significant, and then do like Oscar nominated, right? And this is important now, and enjoy it. Enjoy these moments of making this totally important, and then 10 seconds later, you can go like, is it still important? Yeah, it's still bloody important. I'm still making this so significant. And then you just enjoy doing that. And then after a while, you'll go like, okay, I'm good now.
I'm bored.
I'm bored. Yeah.
Exactly. But you can enjoy all these emotions too, all these mood changes. And because if you can enjoy them, you can play with it, and it's not yours. That it's just a moment that you're playing with it.
Yes, I like that.
I'd like to add one of those for me, it's, at least I heard it in Right Recovery for You the first time. It's more a Right Recovery for You tool. If I weren't engaging in this right now, in this, mulling over what happened, what else could I choose? What could I be aware of? So it's really allowing you to see first of all acknowledge I'm doing that. I'm engaging in it. I'm doing it actively, and it allows you to take a step back and to really realize I'm choosing to do this right now.
Yes.
If I weren't engaging in this trauma, in this drama, whatever it is at the moment, what else could I be aware of? What else could I choose?
Yes. And you bring up something that's so critical. Thank you for that, Corinna. Not critical, but so much a part of what I've learned from Access, which is that we have choice. What do you mean I have choice? This stuff happens to me. No. You made us this, you created things. We create our lives. And in the beginning, I thought, well, wait a minute. You know, that means I can't make anybody else, I can't blame anyone anymore. I can't make them responsible for me. But of course, that's such a gift. And I really got that from Access, because then I could choose something different. And I knew, or I began to have a sense that I could create things. I mean, I wrote my book in I guess it was in my 60s. Was it in my 60s? Yeah, in my 60s. You know, that I would have thought if I bought into this reality of, oh, you know, now I need to retire and my life is almost over. And I had all these people who were like, well, what would you like to choose? What would you like to create? And I'm like, I can do that. I can be different. You know, it was such a revelation to me. And it, you know, now, well, pre-COVID, I traveled the world, I gave classes, you know, and I never would have known that I had choice and that I could create my life beyond what I had heard from this reality, from everyone in the culture. I'm in America, but we all have many similar things. No, this is your life pattern. This is what you do at this age. And then you do this. And then, you know, and Access turned all that upside down, which I was just really, really, really grateful for. So that whole thing about, you know, you're not limited to what you're doing right now. You're not limited by anything if you're willing to ask questions and have a different possibility. I didn't know there were possibilities. I thought ice cream came in vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. Who knew there was banana frou-frou and, you know, strawberry coconut and all these different things. And that's, I think, one of the great things about the tools of Access is it opens you up to so many more possibilities. So we have a couple minutes left. Would anybody have anything else they'd like to say, or just?
I would like to add, like, we talk and we joke right now, and everything seems so much easy to us. Yeah. But we all have our backgrounds. We all have our stories. Like when I started in Access, I was a single mom with a child, and I had no income. I didn't work. And I was just like left alone. So basically, it's just when Access came into my life, and I got to know like these tools through translating for Access, and I started translating. It's just like, it was, for me, it was like I didn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. Like I was like, is that it? And I was like, oh my God, this is like, there is nothing, there was no hope for me, because it's just like, I didn't know what to do. I cannot start working because I have a small child and I don't have money to pay the nanny to sit with my baby. So it's just like, it was a circle that I couldn't break, basically. I was going this catch-22, and it was just like, everything was happening. And just 5 years later, I'm here, I'm talking about the tools, and I'm talking about possibilities. I'm talking about it can be changed.
Yes.
Anything can be changed. It's not like we just like, it's just so much fun. It's just, we've been there. We've done that. We struggled. We chose. We used the tools, because for me it was like, okay, I don't know what else to do. I don't know where else to go. What the heck? Let me use that. Just whatever works, you know, at this point. And it's just one step at a time. You just go, and it's just like, it is a struggle sometimes at first, because we get too used to this idea that we don't have choice, that we're obliged to do that. We have to stay without our, you know, these labels or whatever. And at the same time, it's just like, it gets easier. Yes. It is one step at a time. It's like, it gets easier. Just keep walking.
Yes, it does. And the tools really work. They're amazing. I basically transitioned from being a regular psychotherapist to being an access consciousness facilitator because the tools were so much more effective and efficient than therapy. I'm like, my gosh, these things really work. But I want to thank you all. And those of you listening, you can find out so much more on the Access Consciousness website, accessconsciousness.com. And the You Are Not Alone. Check out all the free bars sessions that are being offered. And thank you all so much for joining me today. Joining this program and all you wonderful Right Recovery facilitators just makes me happy. Thank you. Yay!